Welcome back, treasure hunters. You're watching Coins Hunter USA, the ultimate channel for discovering the rarest and most valuable coins in the United States. If you're passionate about coin collecting or just curious about the hidden gems hiding in your pocket change, you've come to the right place. In today's video, we're diving into a fascinating piece of American coinage, the state quarter coin. It may look like an ordinary quarter at first glance, but some of these coins are secretly worth thousands of dollars due to rare minting errors, limited editions, and high collector demand. You won't believe the value some of these state quarters are fetching in today's market, so grab your coin jar, stay tuned, and don't miss a second, because the next valuable coin might just be sitting in your own change. Let's get started. Top 1. Today we are diving deep into American history, or just love the thrill of discovering coins worth thousands of dollars. Then you're in for a real treat today, because in this video, we're focusing on a coin that might look completely ordinary at first glance, but under the right conditions, it could be worth a life-changing amount of money. I'm talking about none other than the 1999 Connecticut State Quarter, a beautifully designed coin that captures a piece of American Revolutionary history, and in some cases, commands an incredible value in today's collector market. Yes, you heard that right. A single Connecticut quarter, if it meets certain conditions, could be worth as much as $68,000, but before we jump to the value, let's unravel the full story of this coin, from its origins and symbolism, to the fascinating minting errors and unique features that make it such a hot target for collectors across the country. Stick with me until the very end, because you may just find out that you've been holding on to something far more valuable than you ever imagined. Let's rewind the clock to 1999. The United States Mint had just kicked off one of the most successful coin programs in American history, the 50 State Quarters program. This decade-long initiative was launched to honor each of the 50 states with a unique quarter design, and to reignite public interest in coin collecting. And it worked. Suddenly, coins weren't just change, they were collectibles. People of all ages, from school kids to senior citizens, started hunting for these new designs, hoping to complete the entire set. Connecticut was the fifth state to be honored in this series, and its quarter is a true standout. Now, why does the Connecticut quarter hold so much meaning and beauty? Let's talk about the design. On the reverse side, you'll find a large, leafless tree with winding, sprawling branches. That's not just any tree, it's the charter oak, a deeply symbolic piece of Connecticut's identity. In the year 1687, British authorities tried to seize the colony's royal charter to bring Connecticut under tighter British control. But instead of surrendering, the colonists took action. During a heated meeting, the room suddenly went dark, the candles mysteriously snuffed out, and when the lights came back, the charter was gone. Where did it go? It had been hidden inside the hollow of a giant white oak tree, the charter oak, to prevent the British from taking it. That simple act of defiance became a legendary moment in Connecticut's fight for autonomy and a symbol of resistance, independence, and freedom. That's why this tree was chosen to be on the quarter, not just for its beauty, but for what it represents, the unshakable spirit of freedom. The coin proudly displays the words, the charter oak, beneath the tree, along with Connecticut and the year 1788. The year Connecticut became the fifth state in the Union. The obverse side, as always in the state quarter series, features the classic portrait of George Washington. Together, these elements make this coin a miniature tribute to American independence, a work of history, art, and patriotism pressed into metal. But it's not just the story behind the design that gives this coin its value. What truly takes this coin from collectible to extremely valuable are the rare minting errors that occurred during its production at the U.S. Mint in 1999. Let's dig into those. Because not all Connecticut quarters are created equal, and some of the rarest ones can be worth a small fortune. One of the most well-known errors is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not properly aligned in the press, causing the design to be shifted. Sometimes, part of the lettering will be missing, or you'll see a crescent-shaped blank space where the die missed the edge. The more dramatic the shift, the more valuable the coin becomes. Another highly prized error is the double die strike, which occurs when the die imprints the coin twice, slightly offset. On Connecticut quarters, this may be visible in the branches of the charter oak or in the letters themselves. The doubling can create a shadow-like effect and add serious value for collectors looking for error coins. Some quarters have been discovered with clipped planchets, literally a piece missing from the edge of the coin due to a miscut during the blanking process. And then, there's the wrong planchet error, where the quarter design is accidentally struck on a coin blank meant for a different denomination, such as a nickel or even a foreign coin. These are extremely rare but known to exist. When a Connecticut quarter is struck on a smaller or thinner blank, it stands out immediately, not just by weight or size, but by the metallic look and sound. Each of these errors adds rarity, and rarity drives up value, but even beyond errors, grade and condition matter tremendously. A Connecticut quarter in circulated, worn-down condition might be worth face value. But one in near-perfect, uncirculated condition, graded MS67 or higher, is in a whole different league. The pristine luster, untouched surfaces, and crisp detailing all factor into its grading. Coins that meet these high standards become incredibly attractive to serious collectors, who are willing to pay big money for top-quality examples. And here's something most people don't realize: the 1999 Connecticut quarter was minted at 3 different U.S. mint locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins with a P mint mark come from Philadelphia. D means Denver, and S indicates San Francisco. The San Francisco versions are usually proof coins, minted for collectors and sold in special sets. These proof versions, especially if they are still sealed and graded PR70, perfect proof condition, are highly collectible. So, if you have a Connecticut quarter, flip it over and look just above the word quarter dollar on the obverse. You'll find the mint mark there. Some specific errors or rare finishes are only found on coins from a particular mint. So pay close attention, because that little letter can make a huge difference in the value. Now, let's get to the big reveal, the question everyone's been waiting for: how much is the rarest 1999 Connecticut quarter worth? Drumroll, please. A verified, error-rich, mint state Connecticut quarter, especially one with a dramatic double die or wrong planchet, has been sold at auction for as much as $68,000. Yes, that's $68,000 for one single quarter. Incredible, right? So here's what you should do next. Go through your old change. Check your quarter jars. Look at your coin albums from the early 2000s. Dig through your drawers. You never know, that Connecticut quarter you casually tossed aside might just be a rare collector's item worth thousands. And if you find anything unusual, like off-center images, doubled letters, or a strangely light coin, don't dismiss it. Get it checked. It could be the find of a lifetime. Top 2. We're talking about the 2019 Lowell, Massachusetts state quarter, and you might want to stick around until the very end of this video because we'll be revealing just how one of these coins, under the right conditions, sold for an astonishing $75,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. One small quarter from 2019, a year most of us still consider recent, reached a value that can rival the price of a brand new luxury car. But before we dive into that price, let's explore the full story behind this coin, what makes it special, the design details that hold deep historical meaning, the rare errors that can skyrocket its value, and exactly what collectors look for when hunting for one of these beauties. The 2019 Lowell quarter was part of the America the Beautiful Quarters program, a special coin series launched by the U.S. Mint to honor national parks and historical sites from each state and U.S. territory. This program ran from 2010 to 2021 and gave us some of the most visually detailed and beautifully crafted quarters ever produced, and among all of those designs, the Lowell quarter stands out for its deep connection to American industrial history, the women's labor movement, and its symbolic tribute to progress. Let's take a closer look at the design. On the reverse of the coin, you'll find a scene that captures the very soul of 19th century Lowell, Massachusetts, a city that was once the heart of the American Industrial Revolution. A young female textile worker is shown standing in front of a power loom inside one of Lowell's historic mills. Through the window, you can see the Butte Mill Clock Tower, an iconic symbol of the city's industrial strength. She's not just working, she's part of something bigger, representing the thousands of women known as the Mill Girls, who helped build America's manufacturing power. This design is more than just beautiful, it's a celebration of America's working class, of innovation, and of the unsung women who played a key role in the nation's economic rise. On the obverse side of the coin, as with all quarters in this series. We have the classic portrait of George Washington, elegantly paired with inscriptions that ground the coin in tradition and legacy. But now comes the real twist. Despite being a relatively recent release, some Lowell quarters have turned out to be incredibly rare, and for a few very specific reasons, they've become gold mines for collectors. Let's talk about what makes a 2019 Lowell quarter so valuable. First, rarity through error. That's the real game changer. Most Lowell quarters were minted at 3 locations: Philadelphia, P. Mintmark, Denver, D. Mintmark, and San Francisco, S. Mintmark for proof coins. While millions were made, some left the mint with serious and unusual mistakes, and those are the ones collectors are chasing like buried treasure. One of the most famous and valuable Lowell errors is known as the extra leaf or extra object error, where parts of the design appear doubled or contain strange markings not present in the original artwork. Some of these doubling effects are found on the window panes, the threads of the loom, or even around the mill girl's hands and hair. These double die errors create a shadow-like look that's immediately noticeable under magnification. Another incredibly sought-after error is the struck through grease error. This happens when debris or oil blocks part of the die during minting, causing parts of the image to be faint or completely missing. On Lowell quarters, that can make the mill or parts of the textile machinery look faded or incomplete. Then you have off-center strikes, where the image is printed slightly off the edge of the coin. In extreme cases, you can see parts of the coin left blank, and this dramatically increases its value, especially if the date and mint mark are still visible. And let's not forget the wrong planchet errors, where a quarter is accidentally struck on a blank meant for another coin, like a penny or a foreign denomination. These coins will often feel lighter, look thinner, and have a strange appearance compared to normal quarters. All of these errors are incredibly rare, and they are exactly what can turn a modern 2019 quarter into a coin worth tens of thousands of dollars. But condition matters too. Even a coin with an error needs to be in top condition to reach maximum value. That means no major scratches, no signs of circulation, and original luster still intact. Coins that are graded by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC at MS67, MS68, or even MS69 can be worth far more than their lower-graded counterparts, and if a rare minting error is found on one of those top-graded coins, that's when the real magic happens. So how do you know if your 2019 Lowell quarter is valuable? Start by checking the mint mark. Look for P, D, or S on the obverse side. Use a magnifying glass or coin loupe to carefully examine the coin. Look at the mill girl's face, the threads on the loom, the windows in the building, and the clock tower. If anything looks doubled, distorted, incomplete, or unusual, you may be holding onto a rare variety. And remember, coins from uncirculated rolls, mint sets, or even proof sets have a much higher chance of being well preserved. If you've bought coin sets in the past few years or received rolls from a bank around 2019, now's the time to go check them. Now for the part you've been waiting for. What is the most valuable Lowell, Massachusetts quarter ever sold? A rare 2019 Lowell quarter with an extremely rare double die obverse error, found in flawless mint state condition, was verified, certified, and auctioned for an eye-popping $75,000, yes, $75,000, all from a coin you might overlook in your pocket, your change jar, or a roll of quarters you picked up from the bank. So don't dismiss modern coins. Sometimes, it's the newest coins that hold the most surprising value. And in the world of coin collecting, all it takes is one rare error, one unique strike, or one perfect condition coin to change everything. If you've got any 2019 Lowell quarters, now is the time to take a closer look. Top 3. We're about to unravel the story of a state quarter that's become one of the most surprising and talked about coins in the collecting community. It may look like an ordinary quarter, something you'd easily pass off in a vending machine or toss into a coin jar, but under the right circumstances, this coin can be worth a life-changing amount of money. We're talking about the 2001 United States state quarter. Now, I know what you're thinking, 2001 doesn't sound that old. But don't be fooled by the year. This coin carries a powerful story. It features brilliant design elements, and most importantly, certain rare versions of it are commanding shockingly high prices at auctions today. So sit tight, pay close attention, and join us as we dig into the secrets of the 2001 state quarter, and wait until the very end, Because we're going to reveal how one of these coins sold for an unbelievable $82,000. Let's get started. To understand the value of the 2001 state quarters, we first need to look at the program they were born from. In 1999, the U.S. Mint launched one of the most ambitious and successful coin series in American history, the 50 State Quarters program. Over 10 years, each of the 50 states was honored with a unique quarter featuring a design that celebrated its culture, history, and identity. In the year 2001, 5 new state quarters were released: New York, North Carolina, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Kentucky. Each of these coins carries a design that tells a story that's deeply tied to America's heritage. Let's take a moment to highlight them. The New York quarter features the Statue of Liberty with the state outline and a path of 11 stars. The North Carolina quarter honors the Wright brothers and their first flight. The Rhode Island quarter shows a vintage sailboat gliding through Narragansett Bay. The Vermont quarter depicts maple trees and a farmer collecting sap, and the Kentucky quarter features the famous Federal Hill Mansion with a thoroughbred horse grazing before it. Each of these designs is meaningful, well-crafted, and beautifully symbolic of their states. But design alone doesn't create value. So what does? The real value of these 2001 quarters lies in minting errors, rarity, and condition. And that's where things get really exciting. Let's begin with mint errors, because this is the number one factor turning ordinary coins into extraordinary finds. One of the most sought-after errors found in 2001 state quarters is the double die error. This occurs when the die used to stamp the coin strikes it more than once, slightly misaligned, resulting in a doubled image. You may notice this in the lettering, especially on words like Liberty or the state name, or in the intricate design elements of the image itself. These double die coins are extremely collectible. Next up, we have the off-center strike. This happens when the coin isn't perfectly aligned in the press, resulting in an image that's shifted off to one side. In extreme cases, part of the design, or even the date, may be missing. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the higher the value, especially if the state name and date are still visible. Another rare and valuable minting mistake is the clipped planchet. That's when part of the coin is literally missing from the edge due to a blanking error during production. These irregularly shaped coins are highly unusual and easily catch a collector's eye. Then, there's the wrong planchet error, which is when a state quarter is accidentally struck on a blank meant for another denomination, like a dime, nickel, or even a foreign coin. These quarters are usually smaller, lighter, and sometimes have a strange tone or metal appearance. If you come across a 2001 state quarter that just doesn't look or feel right, you might want to take a closer look. That odd-looking coin could be worth thousands. Lastly, don't forget the struck-through grease error, which causes parts of the design to appear blurry, faded, or missing entirely. On 2001 state quarters, this can affect intricate features like faces, hands, or small inscriptions, giving them a ghost-like appearance. Each of these errors is rare. And when combined with uncirculated or mint state condition, they can push the coin's value into eye-watering territory. Now, let's talk about grading and condition. Collectors pay very close attention to a coin's grade. A coin that's been in circulation, passed from hand to hand, and covered in scratches is usually not worth much beyond face value. But a coin that's been preserved, untouched, shiny, and still in mint condition, can be worth hundreds or thousands depending on its grade. Professional grading companies like PCGS and NGC use a scale that goes from 1 to 70. A grade of MS 67 or higher for a 2001 quarter, especially one with a rare error, is where the real money starts rolling in. Combine high grade with a major minting error, and that's when things start to get exciting. And let's not forget, coins minted in San Francisco, with an S mint mark, are often found in proof sets, meaning they were never meant for circulation. These proof coins are struck using polished dies, resulting in a stunning mirror-like finish. A proof coin with an error is even more desirable because of how uncommon that is. So now, the part you've been waiting for: just how much can a 2001 state quarter be worth? Well, here's the real shocker. A 2001 Vermont state quarter, featuring a dramatic double die reverse, struck in mint state condition, and authenticated by a top grading service, was sold at auction for a jaw-dropping $82,000. Yes, $82,000. That's the kind of money that changes your life. All from a single quarter that, on the surface, looks like every other coin in your pocket. So what should you do now? Start searching, look through your pocket change, your old coin jars, your mint sets from 2001, or even rolls of quarters from the bank. Focus especially on the 5 states released in that year: New York, North Carolina, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Kentucky. Examine each one closely. Look for doubling, missing parts, off-center images, unusual colors, strange weights, or anything that looks out of the ordinary, because one tiny detail, one minor error, could turn your coin into a collector's dream. Top 4. We're diving deep into the story of the 2007 Montana State Quarter, a beautiful piece of American coinage that holds a surprising twist, because under the right conditions, this quarter has sold for an unbelievable $89,000. Yes, you heard that right. So grab your coin jar, clear your mind, and listen closely, because by the end of this video, you might just be racing to check every 2007 quarter you've ever come across. Let's get into it.in 2007, the U.S. Mint released 5 new state quarters as part of its wildly successful 50 State Quarters program, a program that had already become one of the most celebrated coin series in American history. Each state was given the opportunity to design a unique quarter that would represent its heritage, culture, and pride. Montana was among the first states honored in that year. Now, at first glance, the Montana quarter might seem simple, but when you look closely, you begin to appreciate just how powerful and meaningful this design really is. The coin features the iconic skull of a bison, proudly displayed above the outline of the state. Below it are the words, "Big Sky Country," Montana's famous nickname that captures the vast, open landscapes and the spirit of the American West. It's bold. It's raw. And it's a powerful tribute to the frontier legacy that defines Montana's identity. But what really gets collectors excited isn't just the design, it's the errors, the rarity, and the unexpected conditions that can make this coin worth tens of thousands of dollars. Let's break it down. The standard 2007 Montana quarter was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia Mint, P Mintmark, Denver Mint, D Mintmark, San Francisco Mint, S Mintmark. For proof coins, millions of these coins were produced. But among those millions, a small number stand out for one very important reason: minting errors. And that's where the value lies. One of the most sought-after errors found on the Montana quarter is the double die error. This occurs during the minting process when the die that stamps the design onto the coin hits the planchet more than once, but not in the exact same position. The result? A noticeable doubling in the letters, numbers, or design elements. On the Montana quarter, collectors have spotted this doubling around the words, "Big Sky Country," and sometimes even in the bison skull's horns or eyes. These errors are rare and highly valuable. Next, we have the off-center strike error. This happens when the coin is not properly aligned in the press, causing the entire design to be shifted to one side. Sometimes, the date is partially missing. Sometimes the state outline is off balance. The more dramatic the shift, and the more complete the design remains, the higher the value. Another major error is the clipped planchet. This is when part of the quarter is literally missing from the edge because the blank metal piece was punched too close to the edge of the sheet. These quarters have curved sections cut out and are very easy to identify. A Montana quarter with a dramatic clip, especially if it includes the state name and date clearly, can command huge premiums. Then there's the wrong planchet error, an ultra-rare situation where the Montana quarter was mistakenly struck on a blank meant for a different coin altogether. Imagine a Montana quarter struck on a dime planchet, smaller, thinner, and often missing parts of the design. These are once-in-a-lifetime finds for coin hunters and can be worth thousands all on their own. Let's not forget the struck-through grease error, a subtle but valuable minting flaw where parts of the design appear blurry, faded, or even ghost-like due to grease or debris interfering with the stamping process. When found on major design elements like the bison skull or the lettering, these errors become intriguing conversation pieces among collectors. But the error alone isn't enough to bring in real value. A coin also needs to be in exceptional condition. That's where coin grading comes in. Grading companies like PCGS and NGC evaluate coins on a 70-point scale, with MS, mint state, 60 to 70 being the range for uncirculated coins. A Montana quarter with a rare mint error that's been preserved in MS-67 or MS-68 condition can be worth thousands more than one with the same error but visible wear and tear. Even more astonishing are the proof versions from the San Francisco Mint. These are mirror-like coins made especially for collectors, not for circulation. They're struck with polished dies and specially prepared planchets, resulting in flawless details and stunning visuals. If a proof Montana quarter contains a mint error, which is extremely rare, it becomes a trophy coin for elite collectors. Now, here's the part you've all been waiting for: how much could this humble 25-cent piece be worth? Well, there are confirmed reports of a Montana 2007 quarter featuring a dramatic double die reverse, preserved in near-perfect mint state, selling at a major coin auction for a jaw-dropping $89,000. Yes, $89,000. That's the price someone paid for one small piece of metal that most people wouldn't give a second glance. And that's what makes this hobby so thrilling. Coins like the Montana quarter remind us that treasure is everywhere, sometimes even sitting unnoticed in your change jar.so. If you're a collector, a casual enthusiast, or just someone who wants to know if they're holding a hidden gem, now's the time to take action. Dig through your coins. Check your 2007 state quarters. Look closely at every Montana coin you come across, especially those with unusual shapes, shifted designs, faint lettering, or anything that just doesn't look quite right, because you never know, you might be holding on to the next coin worth more than $89,000. Top 5. We are diving deep into the fascinating world of rare U.S. coins once again, and today, our treasure hunt brings us face to face with a coin that's more than just a piece of metal. It's a slice of American history, a symbol of state pride, and potentially, a hidden fortune. We're talking about the 2004 Florida State Quarter, and if you've got the right one, it could be worth up to $95,000. Yes, you heard that right. If you're a collector, coin enthusiast, or even just someone who loves the thrill of finding rare things, then buckle up, because what we're about to explore might have you rushing to your nearest coin jar. Now, the Florida State Quarter was released as part of the U.S. Mint's historic 50 State Quarters program, launched to honor each of the 50 states with its own unique design. The Florida Quarter made its debut in 2004, the 27th release in the series. At first glance, it might look like just another commemorative quarter, but this one stands out. The design on the reverse side is nothing short of poetic. A Spanish galleon gracefully sails the ocean waters, representing the state's early explorers. A space shuttle arcs into the sky, symbolizing Florida's deep connection to space exploration through NASA. And finally, the outline of the state of Florida sits behind both, tying the past and the future together with the proud words, "Gateway to Discovery." This beautiful symbolism isn't just art, it's storytelling in metal, but what makes some Florida quarters extremely valuable isn't just their design. It's the combination of rarity, minting errors, and condition that sends their value skyrocketing. Millions of these coins were minted, over 481 million, to be exact, but only a tiny handful contain the special traits that collectors are chasing. Let's break down exactly what makes some 2004 Florida quarters worth thousands, or even tens of thousands, of dollars. First, let's talk about error coins. These are coins that left the U.S. Mint with mistakes, and that's great news for collectors. Why? Because mint errors are rare, unique, and often very valuable. One of the most well-known errors seen in the 2004 Florida quarter is the double die reverse. This occurs when the die, the tool that stamps the coin, accidentally imprints the design more than once, causing slight but visible doubling in areas like the text, the space shuttle, or even the rigging of the ship. On a circulated coin, this might go unnoticed. But on a sharp, high-grade coin, this doubling pops, and collectors are willing to pay serious money for it. Another big one is the off-center strike. That happens when the coin isn't properly aligned in the press, and the design is pushed to one side. If you have a Florida quarter with 10%, 20%, or even more of the design missing on one side, you're holding something rare. Combine that with strong detail and no damage, and that coin can be a gold mine. We've also seen examples of die cracks, those thin, raised lines that form when a die begins to break down. Some Florida quarters even have cuds, which are raised blobs on the coin's rim where a piece of the die chipped off. These aren't just mistakes, they're conversation pieces that make your coin stand out from millions of others. There are also clipped planchets, coins that were cut improperly, leaving them with a curved bite missing from the edge. And extremely rare are the wrong planchet strikes, where a Florida quarter was accidentally struck on a blank meant for a nickel or foreign coin. These are almost never seen in circulation, but when found and authenticated, they can be worth thousands by themselves. Now, let's talk about condition. In the world of coins, condition is king. A coin's grade, measured on the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70, determines just how sharp, clean, and pristine the coin is. Coins graded MS67, MS68, or higher, especially with errors, are the ones that break auction records. If your 2004 Florida quarter has an error and is in mint state condition, no scratches, no wear, full luster, then you're holding something truly rare. And don't forget about proof coins either. These were made in San Francisco with sharp, mirrored finishes and never meant for circulation. If a Florida proof quarter has an error, like doubling or a planchet issue, and it's still in a sealed proof set or slabbed by PCGS or NGC, it could easily make headlines. So where are these valuable coins now? Some were caught early by sharp-eyed collectors. Others sat unnoticed in pocket change for years. And a few are still waiting to be discovered, hiding in drawers, coin rolls, and coffee cans. In one incredible case, a 2004 Florida state quarter featuring a dramatic double die reverse and graded at mint state condition was authenticated and put up for auction. The final price shocked the numismatic world. The winning bid? A jaw-dropping $95,000. That's right. A coin worth 25 cents at face value sold for $95,000, all because of its condition, rarity, and error combination. And that's why this video matters. That's why you should never ignore your pocket change. The next time you see a Florida quarter from 2004, don't just toss it aside. Inspect it carefully. Look for signs of doubling. Check the strike for off-center details. Examine the rim for cracks, cuds, or clipped edges. Use a magnifier or loop if you have to. Because a little extra attention could lead to a massive reward. If you think you've got something special, send it in for grading. Even if it turns out to be a regular quarter, you're still building your knowledge, and that's what makes you a true collector. Here at Coins Hunter USA, we're all about these hidden stories. The coins that seem ordinary, until they reveal their secrets. The treasures hiding in plain sight. The silent witnesses to American history that just happen to be worth more than a brand new car. If you love the thrill of the hunt, make sure to subscribe, like, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss the next unbelievable coin story. And remember, every coin tells a story. Some tell stories worth $95,000. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting, coin lovers.